light, green light. Everybody take a shot. Red light, green light. Give me everything you got.
Thank you, Taker. Thank you, Taker. Thank you, Taker. We're not going to do that for 5 minutes. But welcome you guys to the post-Wrestlemania High and Beyond show. I am your boy, The Beast, reviewing Raw. As we said, we will switch it for a little bit. And next week, I'll be finally going back to SmackDown. So, hope you enjoy. But we came from a crazy WrestleMania. Undertaker just retired. We're going to miss the dead man. That is a childhood gone. That is an era faded away. But we always have to move on. Just like the dead man, we have to continue. But before we start for Raw, let me give you my quick reviews of WrestleMania. Cruiserweight battle, Neville versus Austin Aries. Neville won. Little disappointed on that, but it makes sense because at the end of the day, as great as Austin Aries is, you don't want Neville to have his reign look short. Mojo Rawley won the 4th annual Andre the Giant Battle Memorial. I'm not going to rant too hard on this, but I have one issue. The first 3 Battle Royals, nobody needed help. Why all of a sudden the 4th battle, Mojo Rawley needs help from a football player to win? That's tainting it. That taints the victory. Next up, Intercontinental Battle, Dean versus Corbin. The match could have been better. On SmackDown, they decided to have a street fight as a rematch, which they should have did at the pay-per-view. It would have made it look 10 times better. But we move on. Next up, AJ Styles taking on Shane McMahon. AJ won. I was expecting AJ to win, but who was expecting Shane McMahon to shoot a shooting star press? That still is stuck in my head today, and that's just Shane. You nice. You nice, Shane. Next up, we have Kevin Owens against Chris Jericho for the U.S. title, with Kevin Owens getting the victory. It makes sense because we all know Jericho's about to leave soon, but it was a great match nonetheless. It built to the story. It maybe could have been a little bit stronger, but the WrestleMania moment was the finger. That one stupid finger saved Kevin Owens and helped him with the victory. That is ring awareness like a veteran. Next up, the Fatal 4-Way Women's match for the Raw Women's Championship, with Bayley coming out retaining as champion. That is a great move, but come on now, it was too predictable that Nia Jax was going to go off first, but not to complain about it. It was a great match. It was a great idea to have an elimination because I don't think we all wanted to see just one straightforward Fatal 4-Way. And it came down to the fact of Charlotte and Bayley, so Bayley could now take down Charlotte, and Charlotte can't say anything about Bayley's victory. God, there's too much stuff to go over, so I'm gonna try to do this shit really fast. 1, 2, 3. Hardys win the ladder match. Hardys coming back. Awesome Hardys. V1 everything. Next up, John Cena and Nikki Bella win the tag team match to then propose.
Whoa!
Punisher's a little butthurt about this. I'm gonna let him take care of that. Seth Rollins taking on Triple H. Awesome match. Awesome redemption. Good job for letting Seth Rollins win. Randy Orton against Bray Wyatt. Randy Orton won the WB title. I kind of don't like it. The match was kind of dry. Bray Wyatt should have retained it, but at the same time, we haven't had a Royal Rumble winner win the big one at WrestleMania in a good while, so it makes sense. Brock Lesnar defeat Goldberg. Yes. I like Goldberg, but I hated the fact that they really brought back Goldberg with this streak thing. But good thing he finally died with that, and I hope he does come back. But next time he comes back, don't play the undefeated streak level. Then we had the SmackDown's, I don't know what we call this, SmackDown Women's Championship
6-pack challenge?
6-pack challenge? Yeah, we'll go with that. But Naomi won the right way that she was supposed to win the title in the first place, in her hometown, winning the title, and now she is a 2-time SmackDown Women's SmackDown Women's Champion. We're not cutting that, but we understand what happened. And last but not least, the terrible Roman beat Undertaker. I miss you, Undertaker. The match was okay, but understand Undertaker's aging. You can't expect him to move full time. Now, since we got WrestleMania out the way, let me just run through Raw, because Raw didn't have too much, but it had enough to make you say, oh! First off, the crowd started off the night chanting millions of chants, thank you, Taker, for about 5 to 10 minutes, then lead to F Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns sucks. Boo Roman Reigns. And Roman coming out saying this is his yard now. I don't know what they're gonna do, but I have one idea that keeps sitting in my head. If Roman stays on Raw after this whole shakeup thing, Roman against Brock Lesnar for the Universal title. I am calling it if Roman stays, but the rumors he might not. Following up, the Raw Tag Team Champions Hardy Boys took on the Club in the rematch, and Hardy Boys looked as Hardy Boys as possible. And the Club looked almost like a squash match, so I feel bad for the Club, but I don't think the Club's coming back too much from that. Next up, we had the champion Neville taking on Mustafa Ali. I didn't watch it too much, but it's always a good match. They really need to do something else with the Cruiserweights, because I don't want to keep trying to just rely on Raw to watch it as well as 205 Live. Like, give me something more. Next up, Mr. McMahon names the next general manager of Raw, which is the great one, Kurt Angle. Kurt freaking Angle. You don't know how hyped I am about that. That is one reason why I kind of wish I was still doing Raw reviews, but it's fine. It's fine. But god damn it, my homie, my favorite wrestler of all time, Kurt Angle, is back and he's the GM. I hope he has a big role as he's back. Next up, we had the debut of one of the greatest tag teams in NXT history. The two-time former champions, The Revival, took out the longest reigning tag team champions of all time, The New Day. That's a great statement. WWE, you need to do something like that more often, so that way you know that you're bringing in a great tag team. And The Revival was awesome. They looked phenomenal. The Revival looked like they've been there since the beginning, and that's how you're supposed to develop the tag team for the top guys. Next up, we had a 6-woman tag team match. Bayley, Sasha, and Dana Brooke taking on Charlotte, Nia, and the returning Emma, which wasn't coming out doing this, wasn't coming out acting to me, but her attitude elevated, and I love it. I hope Emma keeps the same energy as she's back, but unfortunately, of course, Bayley, Sasha, and Dana won. No help to Dana. Dana, you're still green, but Emma, welcome back. Awesome, and I hope Emma definitely comes for the title. It will definitely freshen up things a lot in the title world. Then, the monster himself, the beast, the Universal Champion, Brock Lesnar, decides to come out with his advocate, Paul Heyman, one of the greatest managers of all time. Screw you if you don't think so. Hits one of his strong promos and gives hints that he would love to take on Mr. 23-2. And I say it's a great idea. Have two men that actually have the only victories over Undertaker and then face each other for the title. It would be a big sell. But instead we get Braun Strowman coming out trying to act tough like always. But he just seems to he remembered last second who he's dealing with. The Beast, Brock Lesnar. Lesnar will play with Roman like a giant plate of food. He will eat that man alive. I don't care what no one says. Sorry, I was kind of hyped. See here. Okay, my tablet stopped messing up. Blah, 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 blah. Next up, we had Cesaro and Sheamus taking on Enzo and Cass to become the new #1 contenders for the Raw Tag Team titles. So Cesaro and Sheamus taking on Hardy Boys. I don't think I would think of that as a thought for a matchup, but nonetheless, make it happen. After that, we had Sami Zayn taking on Jinder Mahal. Sami Zayn coming out with the victory, of course, because who cares about Jinder? I mean, come on now, steroid or not, no one cares. And last but not least, to end out this long, brief time of me being on camera, the returning demon himself, Finn Balor, teaming up with Seth Rollins, the man who injured him, which is kind of weird, to take on Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe, and to win at that. Now that was great. It was great for the fact that the main event had to be featured with the Kingslayer and the Demon. It makes sense, and I hope it works. And I hope Balor stays for a while, and I hope this year is the year we finally see who is going to come into the Balor Club. Who is going to build the Balor Club? Because he's been talking about it for a while now. It's been talks in NXT and in the main roster. So, will the first Universal Champion finally build the club? Will he get his title back? Who knows? But either way, let's kick it off to my favorite part, not done by me right now, but my favorite part, the A+ show. with Punisher.
Well, they're beast. And
Hey,
great job reviewing Raw. Thank
Thanks.
you for taking the turn.
Hey, no problem. Hey, just make sure SmackDown look good, okay? Cool,
Sure
cool,
thing.
cool.
My turn now. Hello, everybody. Like the Beast had pointed out, I am the Punisher, so I will be reviewing SmackDown. But first, hello, I am the Beast reviewing the A+ show. No, sorry. Beast had his turn several times ago, so now it's the Punisher's turn to take turn to review SmackDown. But first, just to run through the WrestleMania card really quick. I know there's a lot of matches there, but I'm not going to go through all of it, so just to give a couple of opinions on some matches like the Beast had pointed out about Baron versus Dean on the show, where I was disappointed with this one too, just because I felt Baron could have used the title win since they're pushing him to be this big guy on SmackDown. Why they didn't give him the title is really beyond me. And then we saw Austin Aries come up short with Neville, which I was disappointed by this, but I'm hoping this leads to Aries becoming the future Cruiserweight Champion. Then we had the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, which unfortunately Mojo Rawley won the match, but I was hoping Sami Zayn would take it in this case because he hasn't had a lot of momentum in the past year being on the main roster. But now to go through a couple of matches on the main card. So one of the matches I would like to talk about is the Fatal 4-Way Women's Elimination title match. Although I wasn't too surprised Nia went first, but my only complaint or two is I'm surprised they didn't make Sasha Banks last until the final two between her and Bayley, since they've been kind of building some sort of tension between Sasha and Bayley, but then they wound up doing Charlotte and Bayley last, which in my opinion I felt the finish could have been a little different because I kind of thought it came off a little bit weak, but I do feel the Macho Man elbow drop was a cool way of finishing it. I was just expecting more from the finish. But anyway, we did see the match between Owens and Jericho. Good match, just the way I expected it to go. And then we saw the Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton. I'm very disappointed in this match because, for one, Orton never needed the title win to begin with. Second of all, Bray was only champion for a month and they make him drop it already. And third of all, it feels like every time they put Bray in a feud with anybody, he's always losing at the big show, despite that he won against the New Day and some other competitors. But that's why I keep going around telling people Orton did not need the Rumble win to begin with, but it is what it is at this point, so unfortunately I can't change it. Then we had that ridiculous tag match between Nikki and John Cena versus Miz and Maurice. For one, I did not like that Miz was buried in the match, only for it to lead to this stupid proposal by John Cena. Some of you may not agree with how I feel about this, but I'm stating my opinion anyway. Nikki, why are you about to give up kids for John Cena? You've wanted all your life. Why are you giving it up for him? If you feel this is a great move, oh well, but just be sure this is really what you want at the end of the day versus other people that could give you marriage and kids. But whatever, not much else I can say about that. But moving forward, then we also saw Seth versus Triple H in the match, which I felt that was a very good match, with Stephanie going through the table toward the end of the match to give Rollins the W. So that was actually a good match I very much enjoyed. And then we also had the SmackDown Women's Championship match, which, like the Beast said, I agree the fact that Naomi won the title back in her hometown, making her a two-time champion, although it would have made sense for them to wait until Mania to do the big moment. Same thing with Bayley, just to backtrack a little bit, where it would have been a bigger moment for Bayley to win the title at WrestleMania and to end Charlotte's undefeated streak, but they do things early for whatever reason, so it is what it is at this point. And I'm sure there's other matches that I'm leaving out, but again, we're going through this really quick. We also saw Brock versus Goldberg, which the match ended just about how I expected it to end, although I thought it was going to end a little bit quicker, but I'm fine with it being about around 5 minutes, something like that. So
4 minutes, 45 seconds.
Something like that, so I was fine with that. And then, unfortunately, we saw Undertaker versus Roman, which, to tell you the truth, I was a little bit saddened by this because if the Dead Man was going to go out on his last match, I really thought that he would be able to go out on his own will, not based on a health issue, where if he gets one more hip surgery, he's basically done. So, and I can tell that they had Roman go over in the match because they want to get him over even further, but only for the fans to turn against him massively, only for him to come out the following night on Raw to a massive amount of boos I have never seen for any wrestler in a long time, which may have happened for another wrestler, but I can't remember that at this time. But Undertaker did at one point say to Roman in the match, "You don't have the balls to be me," which I felt this was a pretty interesting way to pre-end the match, though, but with Roman running back and forth until he finally did another spear, which I think he hit 6 spears in the match. Then that pretty much called it off and everything, which was a similar way of HBK telling Undertaker to end him, and similar way of Ric Flair telling HBK to end him at the Mania back then. But unfortunately, this is the end of the era for The Undertaker, and I was hoping for another Mania from him, but again, people run into health issues that's out of their control, so it is what it is. But Undertaker, I just want to say thank you for the excellent years in professional wrestling and entertainment you provided to us, so I hope all as well goes to you in your future. So, now going on to SmackDown. So, SmackDown started off, of course, with Orton coming out and then talking some garbage about Bray, and for Bray to come on screen and talk about some garbage with Orton, just a little back and forth schmaz, and then only to find out we get a returning Eric Rowan on SmackDown, which wasn't really expecting it at the SmackDown after Mania, but at some point he was bound to return though, and then this led to Luke Harper coming out, so only for them to announce a tag match for the main event. Then later on in the evening, we also saw Kurt Hawkins came out to do an open challenge that led to 10 to make his main roster debut, which was a big shocker to everybody, and he got his main roster debut on the same exact episode. Kudos to you, Ty, you deserve it this time. And then we also saw the SmackDown Women's Championship being defended by Naomi, and Naomi came out with the W again, so a great job in that match there once again. And then we also saw another parody of The Miz and Maurice calling out John Cena and Nikki Bella, which is another funny parody that they put on, only for the violin guy to be out there, which gave everybody the impression Shinsuke Nakamura made his SmackDown main roster debut. Unfortunately, he didn't say much on the show, but he just came out and said, "I'm on SmackDown, this is where I am now." So, another great surprise we got there for another NXT call-up. And then later on in the night, we saw Shane McMahon coming out addressing the Superstar Shakeup announced for Raw, and then this led to AJ coming out and praising Shane for the match between them two at WrestleMania, which was also a very good match. I was a little surprised by some of the counters done by Shane McMahon, but again, it was still a great match, so I'm not going to take anything away from either person. I would give my predictions for the Superstar Shakeup, but it's hard to know what's going to happen in this case. My only prediction could be is I hope the club goes over to SmackDown because they could use to be better booked on that show, and then I think Becky Lynch could use a turnover to Raw since she pretty much faced everybody on the roster, so I think her using a bit of a change of feuds could help her some. Right. We also saw Baron Corbin take on Dean Ambrose in a street fight, which, like the Beast pointed out, we should have seen this at Mania, but unfortunately didn't happen. However, Baron Corbin did beat him in the street fight, so my question is, if you were to do a rematch with these two, and if Baron was going to win the match, why not put the title back on the line for Baron to get over? Although the win may not have meant as much on SmackDown, but they could have done it on WrestleMania, but something about this didn't add up, but what do I know? So then last but not least, we saw the tag match between Orton and Harper versus Bray and Rowan, which the match wound up being typical with Bray doing some of his surprises during the match, only for him to be on the outside of the ring on the rib, while Orton landed the RKO on Eric Rowan to get the win for his team. So I wasn't too surprised by this match though, but honestly, again, Orton does not need to be champion because it just made Bray look bad of losing the title so quickly after he just won it a month ago, but I'm hoping he does get the title back at some point because it took him this long for them to finally give him a title reign. So if they are going to give him a title reign, let this make it look meaningful. So, alright everybody, well, one last thing I wanted to let people know. My buddies are going to give the WrestleMania reactions, so stay tuned for that. Until then, have a great night.
Thank you, Undertaker.
I actually want to give my thoughts on Undertaker and Roman Reigns, and to be honest with you, with this match, I wasn't totally expecting this to be his final match at WrestleMania, but there was a lot of rumors floating around about it. I was a little surprised the way it went out, but in all honesty, I was hoping Undertaker would win his last match, but unfortunately I wound up becoming Roman. But last but not least, Undertaker, thank you for an amazing career, and he will be missed greatly.
I want to talk about Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg.
Alright, and your
Perfect
thoughts?
booking, short, quick, to the point, high impact moves, change the title, bam, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Delete!
I like chips. These chips are a little salty. I wish I had salsa right now. But that was the worst. Sorry, the chip was sharp. That was the worst WrestleMania ever, because the Jeff Hardy boys are here and they're retarded. So what I'm going to talk about is today, the Boston Red Sox won on opening day 5-3. Good night.
I want to talk about the ultimate match at WrestleMania, where we got a true WrestleMania moment. It's when the Broken Hardys returned to WrestleMania. It was glorious. It was the biggest pop of the night. You wouldn't believe it. The whole place went nuts. I went nuts. Everyone who I was watching it with went nuts. It was great. It was broken brilliance. The whole crowd stood up and deleted and deleted and deleted. It was amazing. I give it 5 Moe's stars. 5 Moe's burritos for the match. It was amazing. And I want to talk about one more thing. Oh, somebody passed gas in this room. It's so bad. I want to talk about one more thing, and that's Alexa Bliss. She should have kept the belt. That was a great match, but she should have kept the belt. She looked amazing, and her ass looked spectacular. Cerebral palsy. It was a beautiful. Cerebral palsy.
Talk about Orton and White. I don't understand why Randy Orton got the title back so soon. Bray Wyatt just had it. They had all these special effects for the match. It also ended too quickly. The match could have been better. I know there's a lot more on the show that got more attention, but no.
Fucking battle royal and how bad it was, especially the winner being fucking Mojo Riddlin Rawley. I don't think he deserves it. I think the only reason he won is because of his fucking little bitch boy Gronkowski, and I'm probably about to get ambushed or somewhere, so fuck it. Oh no. And it should have been obvious. Everybody wanted was what, Strowman? It should have been him. You got the fucking idiot retard Mojo, and fuck Tom Brady. I hope he catches hepatitis A, B through Z, and that's it.